Hi everybody. Excuse me, a little congestion there, so sorry about that. This is Vanessa. I'm the owner and CEO of Goofy Loopy's Gift Shop. I did a video showing that I'm going to start a quilt. I have never made a quilt before. I did a jelly roll quilt and that was fun. I did not finish it. But I did get all of it done, and I had started quilting the top of it by hand on my domestic sewing machine. So anyway, I wanted to come out. I'm going to show you this here. I'm going to do the Lori Holt's Beehive quilt blocks. So there are 20 of those Beehive quilt blocks that go in the quilt itself, and then there's others, fillers that I call them. But anyway, this is from Lori Holt's. This is her book. Okay. I'm going to be doing this bee. I'm going to be doing this flower. I'm doing, wow, it doesn't show the beehive. Okay, well, oh, there it is. I'm doing the beehive. The beehive is going to be a 12.5-inch square, I think, 12-inch square. And then I'm doing the smaller squares in this bee, this flower, and this flower, and this flower. So all of the little 6 inches will be in that. Now let me kind of show you what I'm working on here. This kind of gives you an idea right here. That's the quilt that I'm working on. Okay, so you see how you got the flowers and the bees and all this kind of stuff. You get to kind of pick what you want in it because she gives you a base pattern in here, and then you just do your 12-inch squares, whatever you want them to be, your 6-inch squares, whatever you want them to be. So that's what I'm working on. This right here is the beehive again, and of course there's no measurements. I'm covering up the measurements because this is not my pattern to give out. But I would like for you to follow along and see how to do it. If you get the book, then maybe my instructions will help you. Now again, this is my first time. I'm super excited about it. I have picked out several different kinds of fabrics, but right now today what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to make the block row 6, which is going to be this right here. Okay, I'm going to show you how to make that. I'm not going through the instructions as she's got it laid out in the book, simply because what I've done, you see how all of these are alternating fabrics? Well, I didn't want that. I wanted it to be all different fabric. I wanted each row to have a different fabric. So I picked out 10 different yellow fabrics, and I come up with a I worked on for 2 days a pattern on how I wanted each one of those rows to be, and picking out different colors. I labeled each one of my pieces of fabric a number. So I've got like row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, row 5, and row 6. I went ahead and cut out all of my fabric based on what her instructions are for cutting out each of those rows. And then, like I said, I put numbers on each one of my rows. Then I came up with a formula. I don't know that it was a formula, but anyway, I came up with the solution on how to make all of my rows different. So I've got 10 fabrics that I'll use, and I've got my first 10 blocks cut out and ready to start sewing, and then my next 10 I think I'm gonna go in reverse on the way the colors are. So for instance, right now the fabric that I'm getting ready to show you is fabric number 1, but it's for row number 6. And when I get finished showing you how to do this, see, I will show you the rest of these so you can see what they look like and get an idea of what row 6 looks like. So anyway, this pattern here, you have to have 2 sides, because if you remember, the door is in the middle. So those are going to be my sides, and then this is going to be my door. Okay, and you're going to be using, and I'm going to tell you, if you don't like small pieces, then I don't know that this is for you. But there are 1-inch squares. So anyway, those, I'm going to show you how all of this goes together, and so hopefully this will help you if you decide to do something like this, or maybe you just want to enjoy looking at the video. So that's my iron. Okay, so I'm going to kind of put it down a little bit, and I hope you can see. Okay, I will try to get, and I'm sorry if I'm making you dizzy, but I'll try to get into the video here. All right, so I need to do a diagonal here. Can you see that? There we go. There we go. I was going the wrong way. Sorry. I'm going to do a diagonal from corner to corner on my square here. That will help guide me with making the stitch when I go to put it on my door. So basically, you just go corner to corner. You try to get it as close to corner as you can, and I've got it off. So I'm just going to kind of play around till I get it, because something's better than nothing, right? All right. So here we go with my second one. There are 2 of these pieces. And these pieces are going to go on the corners of the door. Okay. So I'm going to try to get this in here. I'm using a pencil. You can use a pencil or a friction pen, whichever works for you. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this up here. Okay. I'm going to go over to the machine. I'm going to sew right on that line. Now, if you feel like you need these to fit tight, you can pin them. You can glue this side over here with just some stick glue to help keep it in place. That is entirely up to you, whatever works for you. But let me see if I can turn you around. Maybe I can get you over here to the sewing machine, okay? So, watch out, I'm sorry. Okay. This is all I've got. So, we're going to have to make it work. And I've got so much stuff, y'all. Okay. Anyway, here we are. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to sew on these lines so that I can get my corners up here. So, I'm going to the sewing machine. I'm going to do the first one. And I would love to show y'all what I'm doing, but I don't have capability of doing that. I just have some regular white cotton thread in here because I figured that would go with everything. Okay, so see, here's number 1. See how that is? All right, now let me do the other one. And you've got to make sure you get them turned the right way, because like, look at this. If I was to sew on this line, then that means this piece comes off, just like this one. This is going to cut off. But if I had it the wrong way, you see how this would have looked? Then I wouldn't be able to cut off a corner because I'm going right down the middle of that corner there. So make sure you have these turned the right way, because you're going to have to, you're going to cut those corners off, because that's how you get the shape of the door. So remember, this goes on the inside. You want your line to go on the inside. That line right there, you want to go on the inside, not the outside. Okay? So let's go over here. Let's put this bad boy up here. Now, you may be asking, why is there yellow fabric? Well, if you remember, that fabric that I chose for my line, my row, is this. So to get the difference between this and the door, you got to have the same kind of fabric to make your corners in your door. So that's why I have the same kind of fabric there. Now, I'm going to go right on over here. Now, one thing you want to do, I'm going to turn you back around here for just a minute. Okay? One thing you want to do, you want to make sure that when you fold this back, you got a corner. Okay? Because that's going to tell you whether you sewed on the line correctly enough to get your corner. Okay, so I looked at it. Let me see here. I might want to fix this corner right here. I'm just going to go back over there. Hold on one second. because it's not exactly where I want it. And you know, that's the beauty of this. You can kind of go back and you can either unseam it or you can go back and fix it. So all I did was I just went back up to this corner right here because that's where I had the problem. So now, let me find my scissors. Okay, so now you're going to need to cut a 1/4 inch. Now you can use a ruler, and this is a nice little ruler because it gives you the center there, which is the 1/4 inch. I could put that right on my stitch. I'll show you that. Put it right on my stitch, and I try to get my lines right there. Okay, and then I can use a rotary cutter. This isn't my favorite rotary cutter, so hold on. Sorry about that. Didn't have all my stuff ready, did I? Okay, so anyway, I've got that on the 1/4 inch line, and then you just cut it. And see, when I fold it back, it's a perfect square. Now, I'm just gonna be honest with you, I don't use that, but you can if you're a little hesitant. I just cut where I think about a 1/4 inch is. On the other side or the outside of that seam. See how I cut the edge off? So now if I put that back, it's perfectly square. Okay. Let me iron this so I can show you how square it is. Okay. So there we go. We've got our square. We got our door, got our wall. Now we're going to put the rest of the wall together. So what we do here is we're going to have to put this. Oh, let me show you this too. When I did the ironing on the back of it, I ironed it with the seam going out of the corner. You could do it going in the corner, but I did it going out just because that was easier to me. This isn't going to have to butt up against anything, so I'm not really concerned about that. So then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take and we're going to sew one of the sides of the wall to one edge. Okay, so I'm going to go over here and do this. Now you want to be mindful, whichever way you've got the outside going, make sure you don't get it all sideways when you go to sew it. So let me sew that. And you're doing a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Okay, all right, so that's what that looks like right there. Okay, so now you need to do the other side. We've got this side of the wall. Now we need to get the side of the wall. So I'm going to put those together, and I'm going to go sew that side. So let me get that, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. Okay, so now we've got both sides. All right, let me iron it, and we're going to look at the rest of it. Okay, now when I did the ironing on that, I did the seams on the back going outwards instead of going in. Okay, since the other ones are going out, it just made it much easier to let that happen. All right, again, this is row number 1. So I'm going to show you the rest of the rows just so you see. So let's see this one. This was row number 1. Well, this is row number 6. This is fabric number 1. Isn't that cute? So that's going to be the bottom row. All right, and then this one's row number 2, and I just picked fabric that I had in my stash. I'm not using the Lori Holt simply because I don't have it, and I didn't want to wait to order any. I'm being stingy. I've got a bunch. You see all of those back there? All of those. You see them? All of that back there is fabric. So all of that is fabric. I went back there and I did go buy some fabric, just because I wanted a little bit more variety. So that's row number 2. I mean row 6, fabric 2. This is fabric 3. And you know, this doesn't have to be in any particular fabric. If you've got a stash of fabric and you just want to get rid of some, hey, this is a great way to do it. I will actually be using some of the fabric I have down to 0 because I had, like I said, I'm just using the stash. All right, this is fabric number 4. Now I think I picked out, I don't know, 5 or 6 different fabrics for the doors, just to give a different variety. Now I want to show you something on this one. All right, this is fabric 5. Now if you look at this, it doesn't look like it's even, does it? And it may not be, but guess what? That's not going to bother me, and I'm going to tell you why. As long as I've got the length and width of this fabric that I need, I'm not too concerned about how that door looks. And it may be the polka dots that's kind of throwing it off, and it, you know, may really be okay. So I, you know, don't let little stuff like that stress you out. As long as your end result, your end measurements come up to what they're supposed to be, then I say go for it. And the thing I like about this is I chose fabric that was not directional. It is just kind of wild, and so I didn't have to worry about direction. All right, this is number 6 fabric. Aren't they cute? This is number 7. Whoop, I grabbed 2. Hold on. Number 7. Okay. And I'm doing all of the rows, like I'm doing all of row 6. Then I'm going to do all of row 1. Now row 2 and 3 are going to be separate, but they have to be put together in order to make the heart. And that's 1, 2, 3. No, 1 is by itself, 2 is by itself, but 3 and 4 has the heart. So they're going to be sewn separately, but then put together for the heart. And then row 5 is just a solid. So row 1, row 2, and row 5 are solids. All I had to do was cut those. They're not going to have a heart or a door or anything like that. I didn't have to piece them. All right, this is fabric number 8. This is fabric number 9. I thought that was cute with the bees on it. And this is fabric number 10. So those are all the ones for this one here, row 6 on the Beehive with the door, 10 different fabrics to make this. It's in the Lori Holt's book. I don't know if she's got a separate pattern for the Beehive, but I bought the book because there's so much you can do with the book. You can use any of those patterns that's in the book. I do not make commission by, you know, telling you all about her, and I'm not going to have a coupon or anything like that, but I love the Farm Girl Vintage number 2. It's got so much variety in there. Now the Farm Girl Vintage 1 has got a lot too, but they're more of a quilt blocks, you know, with different little shapes and stuff, not really an animal or anything like that, but she does have some of those in that book also. So I have both books, and this, I just fell in love with the Beehive. So anyway, I hope that you got some information out of this today. I hope this will help you if you decide to do this quilt. But I'm making this for myself. I hardly ever do that. So anyway, I'm excited, and I hope to see you again soon. Talk to you later. Go out and have a good day, and smile, and make somebody else have a good day. God bless.